Greetings! It is I, Tentus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time to continue my discussion on D20 Modern, the modern take on the 3rd edition of Dungeons & Dragons. Where we last left off, we were talking about basically setting up your game mastering. Let's talk about awarding experience. Because the sheer fact is, experience points, EXP, is a major reward you're going to be giving your players over the course of their adventures. Your heroes are going to gain it through their experiences and accomplishing various tasks. A game master is going to award an amount of experience at the end of an adventure to reflect basically all the learning the characters have had in the course of it, and to allow them time to train in between adventures to basically gain a level if they have gotten one. Experience is a way of judging their power level. Characters will gain experience, they'll level up, they'll get stronger, they'll become more heroic as the game goes on. So you can see it's this process of them gaining that experience and getting stronger and basically making themselves better characters. Now, experience is just one of the rewards you can give your players. Monetary rewards you can give them, money, you can give them equipment, and of course experience. You shouldn't give any other rewards to your player. No matter how tempted you are, these are the 3 appropriate rewards you give your players for completing an adventure. The fact is, the various encounters that they're going to overcome, challenges based upon the encounters that the heroes are going to have in the course of their adventure and their mission, is going to lead them to the amount of experience they will gain. It will also depend on the average level of the party, basically the average level of the characters within the party, to see this combination of these 2 factors to see how much experience they gain. On average, over the course of 4 short missions, 2 medium missions, or 1 long missions, should your characters gain a level. Now, encounters, creatures, and hazards that your characters overcome in the course of the adventure using role-playing, combat, and skills is effectively how they earn experience. It's overcoming these challenges to complete the goals of their adventure, their mission, their encounters, that is gaining them the experience that is represented by experience points. That is the reward they are earning as part of completing these tasks. Gauging the overall power level of your heroes is one of the more important things you're going to have to do as a GM. You're going to be familiar with your players and their heroes, and kind of get a sense of how difficult these encounters they have and how easy they overcame it. If it tends to be something they're easily overcoming, you're free to alter the amount of experience they're gaining as appropriate. Effectively, however difficult it is, you can tailor it to them. They may think they would gain X amount of experience for overcoming these challenges, but you are free to alter that to how easy it was. It should be a level of challenge. If it's not challenging at all and they overcame it like that, guess what? They're not going to earn as much experience. You're free to do that as the game master. Now, every encounter has an EL, or encounter level. Encounter level is basically how you can judge how difficult it is encounters. Normally speaking, we look at encounter level, and it should be equivalent to the average party level of your heroes. Basically, you look at all the heroes you have, add their levels together, divide it by the number of heroes you have, that's their average, you compare it to the EL. When the 2 of those are equal, it's going to be a difficult but challenging encounter to overcome, but it shouldn't be one that's deadly. So effectively, EL equal to theirs shouldn't be deadly. They can encounter an EL 2 to 3 higher than their average hero level, and should they do this, this should be a very dangerous and difficult encounter that could possibly be deadly, but the point of this encounter should be, more often than not, be something that's overcoming a great difficulty. End of an adventure, end of a mission encounters are oftentimes these very difficult 2 to 3 higher EL encounters. You could also have EL encounters 2 to 3 less than your hero's average level, party level. If you do this, it's supposed to be just a simple one. The point of all this is that through the course of the adventure, they should have a variety of EL-based encounters, from the simplest to the most challenging, that's going to give them a variety of different difficulties to overcome over the course of it. And EL is what you use to determine EXP. There you go. See, now we're talking. We're bringing it back. Now we're going to have to, of course, determine the EL. And there are 4 steps to determining the EL of whatever encounter you have. And this is taking into account all the creatures, hazards, obstacles, everything in it. First off, you look at the individual creatures and characters you're fighting. They're going to have a CR. You figure out what that is. You figure out the CR of the group then. CR being challenge rating, okay? Challenge rating of the single creature, challenge rating of a group of creatures, because a group of creatures is always more deadly than a single, just because of the nature of it. Then you look on, are there any particular reasons why this encounter should be more difficult? Anything that makes it more challenging? That's the 3rd step. 4th step is you look at the circumstances. Are there any circumstances around that should affect the overall EL of this encounter, the overall encounter level? Circumstances that might make it easier for your characters, might make it more difficult for your characters. This is beyond the normal, something that makes it threatening, because I could take a creature and put it in a circumstance that would be more threatening than its normal CR would allow. I can easily do that. I can set up these circumstances, and then it's more threatening. Or I can just make overall circumstances of the places you're battling that affect your characters. These are 2 factors to it. Just placing a creature in a place where it's better off. Like if you're fighting a aquatic creature, like an alligator, and you're all in the water, guess what? The alligator has an advantage. Or maybe I make the water electrified. You're all taking electric damage each round. Now I've changed the circumstances. You look at all 4 of these and you figure out the encounter level. Though the fact is, certain encounters can be much more simple. And then you're not going to take all these 4 different steps. You're only going to take the ones that are appropriate. So first off is, let's look at the CR of the creature or hazard you have. Every single creature and hazard. Because you're going to have to consider each one. Is it part of the same encounter? I could have 2 encounters side by side that you would encounter them each individually. And they're 2 different hazards with 2 different CRs. But if I'm not having them at the same time, not the same encounter. If, let's say, I have an enemy over the side of a rickety bridge, I have to cross the rickety bridge to fight it, because I have to go across there anyway. Bridge is an encounter, enemy's an encounter. What if the enemy's on the bridge? Now they're encountered together. So you see the difference of evolving it. Now, when you're considering creatures, a creature will normally have a CR associated to it, listed with it. A creature could also have heroic levels. If a creature has heroic levels, you add whatever the character level it would have to its CR to get its new total CR. If it has ordinary kind of class levels, then you take whatever ordinary class level it has, subtract 1 to that, and take that number and add it to its normal CR for that creature. That's how creatures are calculated. If you're using just a general character, a character, its heroic level, its lower class level, its character level, that's its CR. If it's using ordinary levels, if it's a level 1 ordinary character, it's half a CR. And anything higher, it's going to be 2 minus. Anything higher than 2, it's going to be that number. Anything 2 or higher, it's going to be that number minus 1, and that's going to be its CR. Hazards. Now, hazards, you look to how much damage this hazard is going to do. There's a chart in the book that's going to tell you the damage, that it's a single damage or over time damage. And you're going to look at that, what that is, and that's going to tell you the CR of a hazard. Now, the fact is, there are hazards that aren't going to use the same dice that are listed. It lists everything in D6s. If you're looking at a hazard that has different dice, you're going to take the average amount of damage and get the closest average damage. That's going to be the CR of the hazard you're going to be using. Closest average damage. And this hazard is anything that would harm your characters in the course of this encounter. Basically, it's some kind of obstacle they must overcome that damages them. Easiest way to say it. Hazards are oftentimes environmental. Now, if a hazard involves a saving throw, you add 1 to its CR. If a hazard is magical, you add 1 to its CR. You could have both saving throw and magical and hazard and add 2 overall to the normal CR that it would have for the amount of damage it would deal. Now, a challenge, of course, could be a skill check, something that would have a challenge rating. Effectively, it could be a skill that is key to whatever encounter you're having. The DC is going to determine how much of a CR it is. You will look at whatever the DC is, compare it to whatever CR it should have. There's a chart, you can look it up, you get it. Not all skill checks have a CR. The skill itself has to be critical to your success in whatever encounter it is. There could be other skills related around it, but only that one key skill check is the one that is a CR related to it. Whether I'm looking around, I might have to look at something related to whatever this is and use some spot. That doesn't count. It's the one right there. If it is an opposed skill check where I have to roll against something else, I don't use the skill as the CR. I use the opponent, the creature or character, and they're going to be determining the CR. Because they can use that skill, it's part of their stat block, they're included as part of it, that's overcoming them in that case. So at that point in time, I'm using them as part of the CR, not the skill DC. It's only that very rare time that skills can be part of a challenge rating and add to this CR. And have a CR. So that's it for today. I began talking about, of course, experience points. I talked about the general, what an experience point is. It's what raises your character's level, increases their abilities, gets them stronger over the course of the adventure. That your game master is going to reward you at the end of a mission, at the end of an adventure. And it's going to depend on the difficulties, the encounters that you overcame, and your average party level. These two factors tell you how much you earn. I began talking about, of course, encounter levels, because this is the most important factor for determining experience. Effectively, the encounter level determines the experience. And you're going to have to look at each encounter separately for its encounter level, which there are 4 steps to it, and I dove into those 4 steps, going over all the basics of each of them to help you understand the steps you have to make to effectively figure out the total difficulty of the encounters you're having and how much experience you should get for each of them. How much your character should be awarded for overcoming this task, which is based upon encounter level, character party level. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about your encounter levels and the rewards you're getting, and then I'm going to move into building campaign worlds, because that's what we're building a campaign. But if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It shows you support the channel, the Empire, the work I do. If you want to show some extra support, you can always check out my Patreon, link in the description below. But regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.